One thing I wanted to do before proceeding is have a look of the structure that we have so far in clean architecture, how these files are organized. So entities use case, and then we have this other level and then UI. As I was mentioning, this is not a strict structure. It could be like we have multiple level of layers, but so far what we have is that we have the interfaces here, like buttons, the nodes, the ring, the list of the devices, and then we go from the inner part where we have the entities described here. So let's see. Remember, we have a dependency going on which goes inwards. So these elements depend on these, and then these ones depend on the use cases, and use cases depend on the entities. It should never happen that we go the other way around. So this is the essence of creating the separation of concerns. More in detail, we can see that here in the entities we have the interfaces, so Wi-Fi devices and Wi-Fi nodes. In the use cases we have at the moment we have the loading part, so load Wi-Fi devices use case and the nodes. Here we have the contexts. These are a little bit, I put it in between because it's not UI per se. It's not really the HTML, so to speak, part, the presentation. It's something like a delivery mechanism, but still specific to React. So it shouldn't be something internal in the internal part of the system. And finally, we have the components themselves, which are pulling from the context what they need, but they have no clue about or how the things are happening behind the scenes. They just have a little bit of logic, sometimes like this, the length, but the major logic is somewhere else in the inner part of the code, of the structure of the code. And here just display them what they are, like the ring node and device. As you can see, the import React part is just being done in essentially in the components and the context. Like use React here from this point on here like that. We don't want to add any dependencies to the framework, so this is framework free. The use cases is framework free, this one as well, and obviously the entities, which are the definition. So here let's try to see the dependency flow, but you guys probably have seen that. I've noticed how it works. So the import is importing, the use case is importing the device, and then the context is using the use case here. This one is injected by the app, and so there's a dependency from here to this use case, and then the use case is pulled from here, where all the time that we have use context, and here this one is using the Wi-Fi devices, so we can draw a dependency like that. So dependency is happening this way. Very good. I hope this made it a little bit more clear, because sometimes it's hard to visualize this sort of thing from inside the VS Code, where we just have a sequential sort of thing happening. We need to have the big picture of the architecture if we want to be considered senior developers. We need to have the big picture of things and move. It's like an army, right? Where we have to move all these bits and pieces so that we can win the war. And the war is, of course, creating a program which is fully functional, and in the end it will be easier to be maintained by other developers as well using these strategies, and so everyone wins literally if we structure the program in a better way and we can test it, and the user will also benefit from that because we can release faster. It's going to be easier to maintain our products in the long run. We can also be more creative with the things that we can do if the base is very solid and clean. So nice. The other part, obviously, the advantage is that we can target these bits and pieces in isolation for the testing, as they are there is no dependency from React. So when we want to test this juicy code, here's the business logic, then yeah, we can do it in isolation because there are no frame of dependencies.